This is Jordan Marshall, and you're listening to Leaders and Next.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Leaders and Next. Anyone following college football knows the Michigan Wolverines have been known for their ground and pound style of offense. And we've been blessed to have several great running backs recently, including Karan Higdon, 2015 class, two-time All Big Ten, Son Haskins, 2018 class. And as we said in another episode, it's hard to forget his 5 touchdowns against Ohio State in 2021. I know I'll never forget it. Obviously, Blake Corum doing his thing in the pros now. And then we currently have 2 great running backs, Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullins. But next in line could be one of Michigan's highly regarded true freshmen, a top 100 4-star, Jordan Marshall, came to the Michigan Wolverines from the state of Ohio and the program of Archbishop Moeller, a perennial powerhouse in the state of Ohio. Jordan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to talking to the future of the running back room. So, but we always like, before we jump into a lot of football, and a lot of people have read, you were highly recruited, so there's been a lot of articles about you. But just curious, tell us a little bit about your family. You got brothers, sisters?
So I'm an only child. I grew up with my mom. My mom's raised me. I'm a mama's boy. I'm closest to my mom's side of the family, but I'm close to my dad and his mom, and then my grandpa on that side. All my cousins on my mom's side are girls, so it can get wild at times, and
Oh man,
they always keep me on my toes, so it's always a fun time. Like, I'm back home now, and we got to all go to dinner yesterday, and again, it's just great being around all those girls, and they're all crazy. So, yeah, just growing up with a good family and people that support me, and yeah, I'm just blessed to have all these people in my life that love and support me.
And I'd read something. I mean, you were very, like you throw a lot of compliments towards your mom, in terms of,
Yes.
her spending time with you and raising you. Tell us a little bit, like, did she get you into a lot of sports, and just, she probably made a lot of sacrifices maybe for you to be able to play?
Yeah, so she had me when she was decently young. She put me in almost everything. Like, I wrestled, I ran track, football, soccer. I played it all, and she just wanted me to find what I liked best and play that sport. And I ended up falling in love with football, and she loves football. She loves to know the details, and me teaching her new things. So it's always a good time. And she loves just learning about football. Like, she rather sit at the house with my grandpa and watch football than go out with the girls and go shopping. So I love talking ball with her, and she's just amazing. And again, I play for her and do things for her.
How's her knowledge coming along? Is she calling out defenses? Is she calling out cover 3, cover 4? How's she doing?
I bet she could, maybe not the coverage, but she could tell you if they were in zone or man. And then I actually was just teaching her about like 2 eye and 3 eyes and 4, and then just some of the play calls, and then the personnel stuff about like 21 personnel and 12. So
I love this. This is like,
She's got a
most people
future in
go home and
coaching.
they visit their parents, and they're going through it. Maybe they're looking at pictures, or they're talking about neighbors or whatever. And I'm just
Yeah.
picturing you, Jordan, sitting down with an iPad with your mom, going, like, walking through, and she's going like, "Hey, you should have picked up this blitz. You should have done this. You should have done that." Like, okay, mom, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, anybody listening that's a parent and has a kid in sports, that many sports, they know how much time and dedication it took. So that's really cool that she did that for you.
Mhm.
When you started football, did you start right off at running back, or did they have you, like, curious, always the evolution of where people end up? What position did you start at?
So I played a little bit of everything when I was little. I was at running back, quarterback, linebacker, safety, again, just wherever. I wouldn't say I got good until like like second grade, but my mom thinks otherwise. She thinks I was always decent. There's actually a video of me getting in a 3-point stance and my legs like my right leg's like super far back and I look really awkward. Um, but yeah, so growing up I played I would say I love defense. I like to hit people. Like I like to play linebacker and then I started to get good at running back and I played a little bit of quarterback. And then in high school, I played both ways. I played linebacker and some running back, this is middle school. Middle school, I played both. And then when I went to high school, we would always talk about like where do we see me, and it was running back or safety, strong safety.
Okay.
And then I love playing offense and love playing running back, and you still get to hit people. So
Well, yeah. Uh, well, you were all over the field. I mean, I guess we have to add kicking, maybe, or especially, I know you're returning kicks, but we'll have to have you as a field goal kicker or something to complete everything.
yeah.
I did think I saw though on your social that you may have played baseball too. You at least had the baseball get up on. Can you shout
Yeah.
out your baseball game? How were you? Where were you playing in baseball?
So I played all the way up till my junior year. I played for a team called the Sluggers, just a select team. I played center field and I batted first, but I loved baseball. I mean, I really do love it and I actually miss it. I actually told my mom, I was like, maybe I should try out for Michigan's team or just go out there and mess around one day. Um, the thing I just didn't love was I love the grind of football, like everything that has to do with football. I just don't love the grind of baseball. Um, it's just throwing and hitting, throwing and hitting. It's just the same thing over again. And football, I guess, it's the same thing over again, but it's just a different. There's a new game plan. There's a new this. There's something else you have to learn. There's a new opponent that has these guys. In baseball, it's really like you're looking at the pitcher. So I don't know. I loved baseball though. Center field. People say if I would have actually spent time and like put more effort in for baseball, I could have been really good. But I love the game of
I
football.
would imagine there actually is kind of a unique similarity between running back skills and center fielder skills because you notice that like the center fielders, there's that immediate balls off the bat, and you have to use kind of instinct, angles, reaction to get there. And football, I think you see a lot of the same thing. You get the ball, and it's sort of instinct, angles, and you got to be decisive, but also take the right route. So it's interesting. Did you ever find any similarities between playing center field and
I would
running
say
back?
I would say more like running back, just like again, everything happens fast. Like you have to be on your toes, ready to go. Um, but I would say catching kicks actually helped me a lot. Like I feel like really fluent in the when they kick it off, like get behind the ball, kind of like your crows stepping into like you're about to throw home. So getting behind it and then running into it, I just felt really comfortable. And Coach JB was like, "You look good, like doing this. Like it looks second nature." And again, I like to catch kicks, not punch so much, but kicks I like. And yeah, I would just say baseball definitely helped me catch kicks and track the ball. You can track the ball. If you can catch a baseball, then you should be able to catch a football.
Now, you mentioned before we started that you made the decision to attend Moeller. Walk us a little bit through, for those that don't know it, a private school in Cincinnati. What you decided you'd rather go there than the public school that you were originally attending. How'd that come about, and walk us through that decision?
So growing up, like I said, I played for Northwest. It's in the Coleraine district. And I grew up playing football there. I had a friend that went to Little Miami. We'd play against them. We were rivals, and his grandpa would always talk about Moeller and how great it was, and I was like, well, that sounds like a place I want to be. So growing up, that was something that me and my mom talked about. I knew I didn't want to go to Fairfield. I don't know. I think I pushed myself too hard to just let myself go to Fairfield. So then in the high school process, we were going to look at all three of the GCL schools, X, Elder, and Moeller. I dislike Elder. I went to a few games and just the fans and people, I don't, their fans might be equivalent to Ohio State fans. But then so I like that. And then I like Coach Speck at St. X, but again, it just wasn't, the culture is not what I wanted.
Okay.
So my final two were between Baden, which is a small D3 school here that's co-ed, and then Moeller. And their decision really came down to one's D1 and one's D3. The school's better at Moeller. And I just thought it would help me more as a man take that next step and be prepared to play college football. I knew what my goals were and where I wanted to be in the future. And I thought Moeller gave me the opportunity to excel with my relationship with Christ, football, and then school. And again, my high school was amazing, and they put me ahead of a lot of people in my class at Michigan.
Well, it certainly worked out. I mean, again, for those that don't know, I mean, Moeller is a perennial powerhouse and a great school. So to your point, it's not just a football factory. It's a great program. And you ended up being top 100 overall kind of guy, and you won Mr. Ohio Football in 2023, which first one from Moeller. This award's been given out since 1987. And first one from Moeller, and only one of two winners to attend Michigan. Yourself and some guy with the last name Woodson. I think he ended up.
I'll look that one up. I'm not. That doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, Google him because I think he did. I think he did okay. But just out of curiosity, when you found out about that? What was that feeling like? Mr. Ohio Football. That's a hell of an honor.
I would say just from like a local standpoint, like there's only been like a few in Cincinnati.
Right.
So that's big steps. So you had like Corey Kiner, you had he went to Wyoming and played, but still like there's only been a few in Cincinnati. Evan Prater is who got it, and he's at UC now. But just for Cincinnati, that was big. Again, Cincinnati is, I think, one of the best areas of football in Ohio. So I was just happy about that. And then again, just like you said, Moeller's first one. There's been so many greats that have went through Moeller, the Francisco brothers. There's been so many guys that should have, Munoz, Hubbard. Like there's just a plethora of guys that could have won that award. So for me, marking myself in history at Moeller is just, again, it's a blessing. And to be named the best player in Ohio, again, along with Woodson, is just, again, I got to talk to him when I got it. I was on the phone with Coach Klink and then got to talk to him about it. So it was just, it's cool. And then again, that's that expectation. Woodson did it, and he had such an impact on Michigan football. That's what I have to do next, and better than that. So again, those expectations, and it's just a blessing to have those expectations.
Able to share with us any words of wisdom from Charles?
I feel like we talked about more of the rivalry. We know what that rivalry is, and know what it means for this state to win that game. So going to Michigan and getting to talk to him, we know what our job is, and it's just, again, it's exciting. I get to be in this rivalry and be on the good side now.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Well, speaking of Moeller and speaking of baseball from earlier, I did a little research and I didn't know Barry Larkin was also a graduate
Hmm.
of Moeller. Uh, Maybe there's a secret. I know you're deep in Buckeye territory, but would you go so far to say there's maybe a secret U of M connection? From because Barry Larkin was a great Michigan player as well as I'm sure he's in the Hall of Fame, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I
Well,
mean,
great.
what's great about the Cincinnati is I look, this. It's not solely an OSU hotbed. A lot of the guys in Cincinnati, are not as driven to go to OSU as maybe Columbus and even Cleveland probably.
Well, except
So it
these
worked.
elder fans, whoever they are, they sound like they sound like trouble. One other fun, by the way, Moeller fact. I know you played just about every sport growing up. Did you know Moeller was also the 2018 Ohio State champs in ultimate frisbee? And when you saw that banner hanging in the rafters, did you ever think that you might test your ultimate frisbee game?
No, we actually do like retreats each year, and we would actually play ultimate frisbee as like just for fun. But again, it's it's cool going to an all boys school and like that being the culture. Like we just it's built into the school like to play sports. Like again, we had a whole week. It's we have a whole week where we like play games and do things like that for our rivalry game, and it's Muller's a great place. And again, just like you guys have named, great in so many things. Baseball has been really good. We have three younger guys that are going to get. We have one that should get drafted after this year, committed to LSU. He's thrown like 98. Our quarterback right now was committed to Missouri and decommitted, but he plays shortstop and he's going to get drafted, or he wants to play both in college, football and baseball. So again, there's a whole bunch of guys that are really good, and again, that's a reason I picked to go to that school because I knew I was going to be pushed and that there's going to be athletes there that are going to push me to be better.
Well, given your success at Moeller, you obviously had a ton of offers, right? Who was your first offer?
My
And
first offer,
when did you get it?
it was UC my sophomore year. My mom wasn't there. We went to so many UC games all the time. I
Yeah.
was like, Mom, like, can I bring my friends to this one? I ended up bringing my friends, and they ended up offering me on the field. Um, so I ended up calling her, and she was tearing up. But again, I was just like, dang, like the one my mom doesn't come to, I don't get. So it was still a good moment. My friends were super excited for me. The game was a blur just because I remember getting that first offer, and then shortly after I got UK, and then they just started to rack up through that summer.
And I'm sure you
Um,
knew you were going to get more offers, but what was it like to get that first one? Like just that, maybe that cathartic feeling of like the first one's in now, like I got one. Especially being so young, you were a sophomore. But what was that feeling like?
Especially being from home too, knowing that your home school, I don't know, that was like, I guess my baby, like that was just really cool for my home state or my home city to believe in the player I was. Coach Fickle, playing with his sons, knowing the player that I was, and again, if Coach Fickle was still there, they were going to stay in my top four no matter what. Like, again, I just loved the people and loved how they supported me and were there for me at a young age. And that just shows a lot.
Now you had like 20 plus offers, and I'm sure could have been more maybe, but I mean, what process did you use to kind of narrow it down to, 5 to 10, and then, deciding to make visits? I mean, how did you narrow down that first set of 20 plus?
So I really just, again, at first, like you see the offers and you're like, well, this one's a no, this one's a no. You have these. My three things was I want to be developed, I want to win a national championship, and school. Those were the three big things that were just big to me in my process. So I, me and my mom would go down a list and be like, well, does this one check this box? No. This one does. Again, I fell in love with Northwestern. I love the people. I loved everything about it. But me and my mom had that conversation of, is this place gonna win in the future? Am I gonna? I think I'm gonna get developed. It's a really good school, but is that national championship? Is that there? And we went back and forth and we're like, no, we really don't think it's coming. So again, just going down the list and seeing which one checks all three, and again, wanted to go out to Stanford and some schools out west, but at the same time, I was like, is this realistic? Is it realistic for me to go that far from my family
Right.
and my people and waste this money of flying out there on a unofficial, coming back and then taking an official? Like, so again, I wanted to go out there just because I was like, oh, this is cool. But realistically, I'm like, Mom, this like I'm not going to Stanford. Like, there's more people at my high school games than some of their games.
Yeah.
So that's where the point it just got to me that I wanted. Those are the things I wanted, and then from there, the schools I loved, we went to more than once. And then again, just like I said, when Fickle left UC, I knew Wisconsin was going to be in it because Fickle was my guy. We were close.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really how it went. Just going down those check mark boxes and making sure everything that I wanted was in that school.
We had the privilege of talking to Ben Hall, and one of the things we were talking about running backs. I wouldn't say it's different from other positions completely, but I am curious as to how the existing depth chart at that school played into just your overall decision. So, because we kind of thought maybe it's a little bit of a double-edged sword where, if you've got a lot of existing talent, it might delay starting. But we're also seeing, running backs are being utilized differently than they were 10 or 15 years ago in terms of utilization, keeping fresh, and even in the NFL, 30 carries would be crazy. So I'm curious, it's a little bit of both. You want enough depth to share the load, but maybe not too much where you feel like it's years away. But I'm just curious, for you, looking at schools, what did the existing running back depth, how did you look at that when you were making your decision?
I wouldn't say so much the running back depth, but I would say the offense style. Where did I see my skills? And this was something that I was told to ask programs. Where do you see me fitting in? Where is this going to maximize my potential in all of these categories? I feel like I can catch balls. I feel like I can block somebody. I can run up the middle. I can run outside. So those were, I would say, more things. And then once we got down to the end, like, again, we had Wisconsin, Tennessee, Ohio State, and Michigan. Those were the four. And I was like, well, Tennessee likes to throw the ball. So I don't know. Let's not get too deep into that. Wisconsin runs the ball. Ohio State is 50-50. I would say they're pretty balanced. And then Michigan likes to run the ball. I would say a little bit over the 50-50 mark. So then you start looking in the depth chart and seeing who's there, who's leaving. But at the same time, I want to compete. So it doesn't matter. For me, it didn't matter so much about the depth chart. Like, again, me and Dono have had conversations like, I want to take your spot. Like, that's my goal. Like, and I hope you do everything not to let me get that spot because we're making each other better. And I feel like that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a room that loves football and where you're going to compete. And so, again, if I went to Ohio State, it was going to be the same thing. And with the transfer thing, it can be anybody. Anybody can jump back.
Right.
So having Trey and Jenkins, like, I would have been in the same thing. They have two top guys, just like we do. I would have been battling to beat them out. So it's the same thing. But again, being around people that actually love ball and getting to see that. I was around Dono a whole bunch and Blake a whole bunch, and seeing how much that room loved each other and loved ball was just a big, like, it was a big thing. They love football, they love each other, and nobody was selfish. And that you could see that right away. You didn't see Dono mad, you didn't see Blake mad when Dono's in. Like, it's a bond, and Blake knew he couldn't have did it all by himself. He would have been beat up. He would have been not very good at the end of the season when we needed him. So again, it's that balance of having two really good backs that mesh with each other and that can play well together.
How different, you made a couple of visits, but I'm just curious, like, how different was your official visit at OSU versus your official visit at U of M?
So I took five like unofficial, I would say around 3 to 4 unofficials around Michigan and Ohio State.
Okay.
So if you want to honestly know, I already knew where I was going. I already knew like Michigan was my top. I was really, to be honest, trying to see what I loved. Coach Alford, loved him. I was really trying to see if I was missing something about Ohio State, if there was something that was just not there, because Michigan had everything, and I was just trying to be 100%. So Michigan was my first official visit. I went, we're on the car ride back, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm like, Mom. And she's like, I already know what you're about to tell me. And I was like, I think I want to call it quit. Like, I don't want to waste people's time. I respect these coaches so much. Like, let's make this decision. Like, I want to be there. And out of respect, she was like, you need to call these coaches and tell them. That's relationships is a big thing in my life, her life. Keep those relationships and be somebody trustworthy because they can help you in the long run. And like you see now, Coach Alford's with us. So again, that first official visit did it for me. I was with the guys, was really close to a lot of those guys. And then I made on the car ride back, called Coach Fickle, texted Coach Alford, had Hayes make my commitment post, and I was just ready to go. Again, I knew for a while you get that feeling when you walk in the building, and I only had that feeling at Northwestern and Michigan, really. That feeling of care, the culture, everything just was like snap, like it didn't need to be said. So, yeah.
Now I think obviously since you're in Ohio, you have some family members that were Ohio State fans. I think your dad,
My dad, yeah, my grandpa.
your grandpa,
Yeah,
was
a
it
big,
hard? Was that the hardest person you had to break the news to?
yeah. He was pretty upset for a while, and my grandma kind of got upset with him. Like, this is your grandson. You should be happy that he's going to college to play football, getting a scholarship. So he supports me, but he said he wants me to do well when we play Ohio State, but them to still win. So it's good to have that little rivalry. My dad grew up. He's from Georgia. Grew up a Georgia fan. So
Well,
I was a Georgia fan growing up and liked to watch them play.
I kind of get where your grandpa's coming from. Like, I've got 2 daughters, and I look at them, and I think, man, I love them more than anything. But if they went to Ohio State, like, I just don't know. There's something there. So I get it. I get it. I totally follow. By the way,
If they went to Ohio State, you wouldn't pay the tuition.
yeah, no, they would.
You would, yeah. They'd be on their own.
Interesting.
But they got a scholarship.
Yeah.
You're
They'll
not going to let that happen.
Get forgiven anyway. But Jordan, I actually have some. Obviously, there was a lot of reaction when you committed. I actually went back and found some message board posts from this. I thought this would be fun. So 2 of them are from Michigan, and 2 of them I thought, let's go check out what Ohio State's got going on. So UM Indy, this is the happiest I've been seeing a commitment in a long time. UM Indy was with it. Our friend outside the box said he's a remarkable young man and a perfect fit for the program. So balanced, positive, and balanced from the Michigan side. Buckeye Eddie said, "Dude, what the f?" It will blank. And then the ever
Bleep that.
prophetic I
Take
bleed
that out.
scarlet. The ever prophetic I bleed scarlet and gray said, and again, this is in 2023. Good luck winning a national title with that antiquated run offense. So, yes, I thought I would bring those up.
And then we won the national championship.
Correct.
So he was wrong.
We should check on I bleed scarlet and gray and just make sure he's doing all right. But anyway, I thought those were funny.
Jordan, being as highly rated as you are, what advice, if if you went back to Moeller, and obviously Moeller's always generating some talent, what advice would you give highly rated, highly recruited guys that are thinking through this process? Given what you've learned, is there anything, what tips would you give them in terms of the recruitment and commitment process?
I would probably tell them to be patient. Number one, worry about the team. Put the team in front of you no matter what. And again, people can tell when you put the team in front of you. And then more, just be yourself. Be yourself when you're out there, and talk to people mentally. Again, you get to a point when you are this high recruit and you have all these things, everything you wanted, but there's setbacks to that. There's problems with that. There's every good, there's bad. And so really talking about my senior year, I struggled the first half mentally, just didn't win we went to two semifinals before that, didn't win. I played really well and I was upset, like, what more can I do? And then it just felt like a job my senior year. I wasn't having fun. I just scored. It just wasn't really clicking for me. And I was trying not to talk about it. And then I talked about it, had a good talk with my coach, some tears. But then you have to remember that you love this game and this is fun at the end of the day. It's a blessing to go out here and play. So have fun, but also talk to people when things are not going your way or it's feeling like a job. Remember that this is fun. Right now we talk about, remember being a fifth grader or in third grade playing football. How much fun was that? Like, you were having so much fun, not caring what happened, and just remembering those moments and why you started to play this game. So just go back to when you were a kid playing on that field, on the grass, just goofing around really, and being a kid. And that's what we talk about in the running back room all the time is when you go out here and play on the field, remember when you were a kid, and that's how you should play.
Now, when you originally committed, it was Mike Hart and Jim Harbaugh. And, I've seen some articles, you talked, Mike was your guy, a lot like Mike. And, how hard was that, with those changes, how hard was that for you?
It was difficult, especially not hearing from anybody at Michigan for a while, and me kind of sitting at home like, well, Mom, like, what do we do? Like, we have to make moves here. Because at the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself. And I was like, well, do I start reaching out to people and finding out if they still have a spot for me, or can I fit in here? Because it was late.
Yeah.
It was getting close to when the head coach leaves. You have 30 days. We were probably around halfway when I was like, well, like, this shit's gonna happen fast, and we gotta figure it out, Mom. Like, at the end of the day, we gotta look out for me. So I ended up calling my old head coach, Coach Elder, Mark. He coached at Tennessee, Michigan, stepped away from football, but called him, and he was like, you need to reach out to coaches and see what's going on. Like, but he was like, also, if this is the place you want to be, it shouldn't matter who's there. You chose this school for a reason. And yeah, it was I had to pray about it. And then finally one day I called Coach Moore and was like, can you tell me what's going on? Like, after he got the job. I called him and was like, "Hey, Coach Moore, like I know you've been busy, but I feel like I need some questions answered." And he was like, I was gonna talk to you. It's been busy, and we needed to have this talk." And I was like, "So what's going on? Like, is Coach Hart coming back?" And he was like, "I don't think so. But we're gonna get you the best guy, and I want you to trust me on that." And from that moment on, I was like, "Please just keep me updated. Like, I need to know what's going on for me. Like, at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for me, but please keep me in your thoughts." And he was like, "We're gonna get you the best guy." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna trust you." There was messages for me, and we have a group chat with the 24 class, and I was like, "Let's stay together, guys. Like, this is a good. We have a good class. We're bonded well. Let's fight this out and figure out whatever happens." Um, we lost two guys, I think, that decommitted, two or three. They all went to Kentucky. Sure. Um, but a few weeks later, I call him and I'm like, "Have you heard anything? Are you guys getting closer?" And he was like, "We got somebody." And he was like, "Who are you with?" I was like, "I'm by myself. Like, I'm just kind of sorry. Like, I'm curious." Like, and he was like, "Coach Alfred's coming to join us." And I was like, "Could Ohio State?" And he was like, "Yeah." So again, I was really happy. Again, him and Coach Hart were neck and neck for. I love both of them. Like, they were both two people that I loved having in my life, and that really showed me right there that Coach Moore was willing to do anything for this program and get the best guys for this program, and that just solidified me staying and being a part of something so special.
I guess Alford couldn't take not having you come to Ohio State that he followed you to Michigan, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I joke around with him all the time. I'm just like, "You just wanted to coach me. It's all right."
Yeah, yeah.
That,
But well, you're so Alfred's there, and 31 years of coaching, so he's seen a lot, and obviously at Ohio State had success there. But you're also getting some time with Fred Jackson, right?
OG, yes sir.
Yeah, and Fred's I think in his 23rd season that he coached Wheatley, Hart, Anthony Thomas, Chris Perry, Tim Biakabatuka. So he's had a lot of coaching experience. What role does what? How are those two working together, and how's that work in the running back room?
It's always a fun time. OG's crazy. Coach Alfred likes things his way. It's just always a good time and joking, and it's Tony, why don't we do it this way? And again, it's just always OG. Just, I would say they both think of things differently. We actually have another coach that just joined our staff from um, Vandy. His name's Coach Everett. So we have over 60 years of football knowledge in the room.
Wow.
And they've coached tons of guys. So just having all those different perspectives and hearing it a different way, sometimes it clicks for me when Coach Alfred or OG says it or Everett. It's so much knowledge, and there's always somebody in the room for me to go watch film or talk about ball with. And again, OG's taught me. He's really close to my mom and talks to her, but he's taught me a lot, and I'm excited to have him and have him right there. And he's like, I was like, "You better not leave before I'm out of here." And he's like, "I'm not going nowhere."
That's good to hear because
yeah.
Michigan fans, Fred Jackson is a legend, and he's been so helpful and churned out some great running backs. So it's cool that he's still hanging with the program. Great move.
how do they divvy up between the three of them? Like, how do they generally divvy up the responsibility? Is one of them kind of more focused on the game plan and scheme, and maybe the other technique? I'm curious how Everett. I'll call him OG now, even though I probably haven't earned that honor. But
So
Coach
OG
Jackson,
is
yeah.
yeah. But I would just say they really rotate. Like, Coach Alfred again is really with the offense, like, always with us. and Everett and OG. They bounce around. They help sometimes with the scout team. OG sometimes comes with the offense and watches us. It's just, again, but it's all hands on deck. They're all trying to help and make each of us better. Even the scout team running backs when we're down there, or all the way up to the starting running backs. The expectation doesn't fall off anywhere, and I think those three guys do an amazing job. Is that we know that our position is, I would say, the highest position at Michigan. So we know the expectation we have to have, and that's not only from our starters, but all the way down to our freshmen. And that expectation is clear.
Now, aside from the running back coaches, I know, you mentioned asking about Coach Herb during the transition, and obviously strength and conditioning is super important. I read that before coming to Michigan, you were working with your longtime trainer, Bryson White, at 220 Athletes,
Mm-hmm.
and you had weak ankles and tight hips, it said. For those listening who have weak ankles and tight hips, listen closely because we're going to hear from
Myself
Jordan.
included, along with a long list of other maladies. But yeah, keep going.
But I'm just curious, are those things that you continue to work on either with Bryson White and at U of M?
Yeah, so my ankle, I hurt it coming out of high school. I ended up playing through my senior year. I had a high and low ankle sprain that was pretty bad.
Sure.
I sat 2 weeks. Then I played the rest of the season, the playoff games. After I was pretty banged up, we talked about doing tightrope surgery. And I talked to Michigan's trainers, and Phil was like, let's not do it if we don't have to. And I was like, I'm totally down with that. Like, I don't want it to cause any like dysfunctions. Like, I can't cut this way now or do this. So we kind of just let it ride out. And we were working on that, strengthening my ankles, strengthening how I could move my ankles, doing pumps and moving them around. And then again, once I got to Michigan, um, doing the slack block and all this ankle mobility stuff and still strengthening my ankles. But my ankle feels amazing now and feels healthy. And I feel like, again, it was healthy, I would say, probably in the summer, getting back to 100%, starting to feel explosive again and like myself. And then my hips just stretching. You have to constantly stretch and get your body moving, and even on the off days, like keep your body moving, stretch a whole bunch. Um, yeah, I would just say keep working on those. And again, those are things, even if they're not hurt, you need to work on because you get hit there, you get twisted. I've seen Khalil take some hits and then get twisted, and just being flexible as well is all the things that come along with that.
Now, we're recording this episode during the bye week for those listening, and you've missed some games from injury. And I don't know if you can talk about it, but how you feeling? And we don't need to disclose their injury, but fans are excited to see you get some time. I know you had returned some kicks against Texas. I mean, should we expect to see you after the bye week?
Yes, sir. So, yeah, I was a little banged up. Just started running this week. I'll be running on the turf starting when we get back on Sunday tomorrow. And then most likely I'll be back by MSU. So hopefully I'm out there catching returns or on special teams, whatever I can do to help my team. But yeah, I'm excited to get back out there and step back out there on that field, and especially for hopefully the MSU game and take down our rivals.
Yeah, we've got quite a few rivals at this school, so yeah, that'd be good to take that one down too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like one last thing on just being a running back, and I know we've got more questions on football, and I would like to talk about kick returning because I want to get your thoughts on a couple things. But there's a lot of like mantras about freshman running backs, about like Pass protection is the thing that like is the biggest leap from high school to college, and then you'll hear others that say, well, actually, it's more the vision and patience and allowing blocks to develop. In your opinion, like as you've made the leap from high level high school football into Big Ten football, like what do you think is the biggest transition or the hardest, the biggest leap from to starting and playing at the college level as a running back?
I would say pass blocking. Again, you just don't. It's not a priority. They want to get in high school. They want to get you the ball. Like they don't want me to be blocking.
That's a good
Like
point.
again, that's. I think that's everywhere. That's all kids. Again, we have two running backs coming in this next class. They're stars on their team. Why are we having them block? Let's get them the ball as many times as we can. Um, but even in my recruiting process, that was something like, oh, you should work on pass blocking. Like that'll take your game to the next level. So I started working on that in high school. Again, they didn't blitz as much in high school, but then getting to college, I mean, just like I said, I like to hit people. Um, so Coach Alford tells me all the time my vision is one of a kind. My IQ for the game and vision is one of a kind. And the other things he says is I'm violent. Like I like to strike people. I like to hit people. So he's like, you're like, we've already got my hands right. We've been working on my hands, making sure they're shooting. And he's like, I'm confident in putting you out there. Like you're gonna be a dude. And just having that he knows I'm gonna go in there and hit somebody. I'm not scared to. If you're a D lineman, I don't. I want to hit somebody and put my hands on somebody. And I would say for me, the biggest part is the communication part. You got the line pointing out IDs and doing all this, and we have different protections where my eyes go here. Um, that part of it, I think, was the unique part of it. Like I didn't do that in high school. Like we would have 63 protection, and I would just make sure nobody came. Again, I have certain guys now, and I would say that was the biggest difference. I feel like I can go put a body on body and block somebody. My IQ's well, but just the communication part from looking at the linemen, seeing what they're doing, and then this all happens in 3 seconds, 4 seconds. You have to know all this information and go.
I mean, this must have been hard to kind of get up to speed because you didn't early enroll, right? You were just you came in. How hard was it for you to get into the playbook and get up to speed on all this?
I would say it took me about 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
I was in that building from 6 to 8 almost every day in the summer. I was as much as I could be in there learning plays, writing formations, um, whatever I could do. I was like, I'm gonna be ready for when we actually start putting these pads on and knowing the playbook. And I would spend countless of hours just studying, looking at plays, looking at this, looking at what the receivers' routes are, the depths, the pass protection. And again, that was something big that I was like, I need to know this because I want to play. Like I want to have a chance to play. I want my coaches to feel confident when I enter camp. And I feel like I did that. Again, I wasn't perfect, but I knew I was going out there and I knew somewhat what I was doing. And it's grown so much to now. Right now, I'm starting to learn for our 21 personnel, our H position, and I have a pretty good grasp on the playbook. So already trying to learn other things to help elevate my game for this year if something happens, and then next year so I can, again, the more you can do, the more you can be out on the field. And again, I'm just trying to learn everything so I can have my stock keep rising and people see the full potential I have.
How did the kick returning responsibilities? 'Cause obviously, you pre-injury, you were starting on the kick return team and ran back 3 for 51 yards against Texas. Like, how did that come to be? Did that just they throw you out there and just saw what you had? Did you raise your hand and say, "Coach, I want to make a difference. Put me in and on kicks." I'm curious how they found you for that spot.
So me and Coach JB are really close because I had a little hamstring thing coming out of camp. But I was on three of the four starting special teams units in the camp, had a little hamstring, and then I was like, well, like I want to play Texas, like I want to be out there. And he was like, well, can you catch? No, I looked at him like I can catch, like come on. So he put me back there at kick return, and he was like, "You're really fluent. Like you're gonna return. Like you're gonna do this. So be ready." And I was like, "Let's do it. Like I wanna play and whatever." Again, if that's wasn't kick return, whatever I could have done to get on the field. And again, it was an unbelievable experience to step out there for my first game and play against Texas, and the atmosphere was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, I'm curious. One last question about kickoffs. I most of them end up in touchbacks. I don't know the exact percentage, but I would say maybe 80% or more. I am curious, like when one is returned, is that a gut feel thing, or are you kind of popping your head down and looking at the kind of the coverage coming downfield and just a little bit playing it by what you're seeing, or is it just like more gut feel, the time of the game, you just need to break something open? I'm curious on when you decide to take it and run and when you just fair catch it.
So we have based on we'll watch the kicker together and we'll see, oh, he's hitting it on this yard line. So you're gonna put your heels at 2 on the left hash, and if the ball goes over your head, you're not returning it. So that's for Texas. My heels were on the goal line. Anything over my head was just a fair catch. We go like this. Um, So that's I really don't look at any of the coverage. I mean, if the ball is if it's a sky kick and it's hanging longer, I might look down for a second. But again, once I catch the ball, I can still make that decision like, oh, the coverage is coming in fast. Let me knee it. Like you really my eyes on the ball. And then again for the Texas one, the first one was we were talking about how he's gonna kick it deep left all of practice. That's what he does. Kicks it deep left, and he ended up kicking the ball to like the 20. And I remember like looking at it and was like, "Oh snap, that's short." And like sprinting forward. And again, I would say it's just more of a feel. After you catch it, you figure it
He
out.
probably thought like, "Oh, freshman back there." Little did he know he had a center fielder out there. No problem. Like he just didn't know.
Yeah,
Didn't scout you good enough.
yeah, but it was. They give us pretty much all the information. Like heels will be on this. It's the same for punt. Like you guys are gonna from the line of scrimmage. His net kick is like 60 yards or whatever it is, 40 yards, and your heels will be on that. So it's really just watching tape and seeing where that ball's most likely to hit. Again, it's not 100%, but they can give you all the information they can, and then you just again you play ball from there.
Now, again, we've had a couple. Again, we're at the bye week. We've had a couple tough losses. What's the mood like at Schembechler Hall? And then you got this time off to kind of dwell on it. I mean, are people walk us through whatever you can share with us in terms of the teams and the reaction and what folks are looking forward to after the bye week.
I would say just a different team. We have what I think is we have the best guy. What I think is Tuttle's going to do really good things for us. People are hating because he fumbled and threw a pick. He's played or he practiced maybe a handful of times I've seen him practice. So it's just getting into that rhythm and getting him comfortable. But watching that game, you see the juice he brought when he got out there
Yeah.
and how much more explosive we were. Dono played his best game I think he's played this year against Washington. And if we can get Dono and Khalil going at the same time, we get Samaj, one of our best ball handlers and then A walk at receiver. It's gonna be scary. And I would say for us losing, we're not lose. A lot of those guys have never lost in that building,
Right.
so it's a sense of urgency, and that's what we've been talking about. This isn't oh poor Michigan. It's some urgency that we're looking at ourselves like it's time to go. Like we have to turn this up now. The next four teams we play have four losses. Three of them are Michigan. Michigan State has three losses. Three of them are from them. So this season's not over. We can still make the CFP
Right.
and still win a natty. Like it's not over, but we also it's a 1 week season. We have to approach Illinois this week and beat Illinois. They're one of the top teams in our league right now. We have to beat them. Then the next week, it's not a bad Michigan State team. They have three losses, but they played some people. So we have to beat them. Same with Oregon. Oregon has a good test today that everybody in our program is going to be watching. Because we still have to play both of those teams. So it's just like we have the schedule to make this playoff run. Washington's not a bad team. We have two losses that they're really good teams. Like they're not bad teams. They're not. And that Minnesota team we played is a really good team. Like the Big Ten is loaded this year, so I don't think from us it's urgency. We need to take each game step by step and urgency at practice. And last week, people were flying around, having fun. Like everybody's playing free, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a different team than we saw this first half, and the guys are going to bring it. They know it's now or never, and they know that this is for our guys and playing for each other. This is for Michigan. It's not for anybody else. It's just for the people.
But I don't know if the casual fan realized how tough our schedule was in terms of the ratings. I think I saw something. I think it's one of the toughest schedules in college football, Division One.
We haven't played a top. I mean, from when I've watched, we haven't played a top four team in the first 2 weeks, in the first 3 or 4 weeks. Like it's just we haven't. So
I also
and that's not the downplay it. That's a really good team. Like, but we need to have games like that. That's what this league's gonna be like, and we're gonna have more like that in the future. We play Oklahoma pretty early in the season next year.
Next year, yeah.
So it's gonna be like that for a while.
I also saw a crazy stat that now the Big Ten is so geographically spread out. Teams that cross 3 time zones are like 1-11 so far. That's the stat of people going that far away.
Far away game. Yeah.
Away games, yes, it's just tough. Like you're traveling a long way. You have these hostile environments. You've never really. I mean, Michigan played at Washington 20 years ago, but I'm glad that's the mentality.
And I think with that stuff, what our coaches say is, "F it." Like we don't care if it's snowing. We don't care if we're playing at midnight. We don't care. We got to go play ball, and we gave them the win. I think at Washington, we're a way better team than them, but we handed it to them. And I feel like that one hurt because we should have won that game. Like 100% should have won that game. So again, you go home and you reflect on yourself. And I think that's where our guys are at. right now, and then we're ready to turn it up once Illinois week starts, and it started last Monday, and that's what we're focused on is just that team.
Awesome.
Now, switching gears a little bit, because you're a student athlete, so we got the athlete part, the student part, and I know you're true freshman, so you're just getting into this, but I'm just curious, what are you studying at Michigan, or what are you thinking of kind of majoring at Michigan?
So right now I'm like undecided, and but I'm gonna apply for Ross after this year.
Okay.
So that's a priority on my list, and there's only a few guys, athletes that are in there, and Khalil's one of them. So looking at him as a mentor, not even as a football player, but just as a man, and talking to him about the challenges of Ross, and that is just big. And I'm like, I want to be in that. I want to be in that environment and be pushed not only on the field but in the classroom. And he says, well, Ross will do that for you. So that's something that I'm very excited and pushing myself to do.
I can't tell you I missed the part of the Ross curriculum where you learn how to drag USC defenders for 11 yards around your waist. I missed that part. I'm sure it was in there. I just didn't get to it.
But yeah, Dan. So Dan is a Ross grad as well. So great program. And to your point, there are a few. It's amazing when if people knew what your guys' schedule was, to understand how you balance.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Sports and school. It's an amazing accomplishment that I don't think people fully appreciate at times how hard that is. So I know in high school you had over a 4.0, I think at Moeller, and Moeller's a serious school. So perhaps this academic transition was easier for you, but I suspect it wasn't easy.
It was, I would say, easier than most of the guys. Like this summer, the guys are like this sucks. Like I never did schoolwork like that in high school, and I'm like, yeah, this is not that bad, guys. Like, and you can definitely see like Ben Roebuck, who went to St. Ed's. It's the same. Like he's like me. He's like, this is normal for me. The Teddy Hammond, who went to St. X here, it's normal for him. He's like, football and school, that's what it's been. Like this isn't too much of a drop off. I would say when people ask, I'm busy all the time. I don't have free time. I don't have much time to just like waste an hour just laying around. Like you don't have that. It's not in your schedule. So you really have to be diligent with your time. You have lifting, then you have class, then you're back to practice, and then you have study hall, and then you go to sleep and you do it all over again. So you really have to love the grind and like the process. And
it's crazy. Well,
some days are challenging.
You're talking about the grind of loving the grind of football. Obviously, you're adding the grind of academics on top of that. When your professional football career is over, what are some other professional interests that you have that you might, that you're thinking about, maybe that interests you now that you might look at after football?
So I love working with numbers. So thought about accounting, marketing, but a big one is I want to own my own business. Kind of like an upgraded YMCA. There'd only be one in the country. It'd be a whole bunch of ex-athletes, and they would basically just train, but also help kids prepare mentally. That's what I've thought about growing up, and that's where I want to have something unique. And people were like, why only one of them? And my answer is I feel like after you get too many, your value goes down because people don't love it as much as you do. And so I want people that love and have the passion of helping kids and helping them reach their full potential mentally, physically, being ready to go at the next level. And that's what my passion is, to have an organization like that.
So this would be like a big performance mecca. Like you come in and it's not just physical excellence in performance honing for a sport, but also the mental side of it too.
And mentally, I'm actually writing a paper over it right now. Mentally is the mental toughness part of it. I don't know if you so much can, I guess, like show them how to do it, but I think it's teaching through experiences and talking, like, again, my experience and having guest people come in. Well, again, in high school, I wasn't so great of channeling that side because I told my mom almost everything, and that part I didn't want to give to her because it was going to put more stress on her. So learning how to go through those situations and having resources. And a key part of my paper is these people, everybody sees us as being heroes or these people that have no weaknesses, but deep down, we're fighting stuff that people don't see on the outside. Um, so really being able to channel that and show that there's more than just the athlete that wears the gear and stuff, that there's a person under that.
How much did your senior year experience influence that? Like you mentioned, when in that brief period when I wouldn't say you lost the love for the game, but it didn't feel the same, and you had that moment where you got to be very vulnerable with your coach and just talk it out and have someone to listen. And maybe some of this is you get to recreate that experience for others, but how much did that senior year experience kind of influence or motivate you to have this idea?
I feel like I've always been motivated to, again, change this world or help kids. And again, my platform for football isn't just, it's not just to play football. I love the game of football, but God, I feel like pushed me in a direction to do more than that. My football ability is only so much. Um, so the next step is why I have this platform is how can I make a difference? So again, that I feel like that senior year showed me what my passion was. And my passion is helping people with mental health. It gets looked over so much, and I think that's that's a part in athletes where they start to break down is mental health. And I think athletes could play longer if their mental health was better. Um, so getting to do that, and again, I'm still learning and trying to figure out new things. Coach Greg Harden was somebody that was tremendous with that, and learning just from him in that short time was like he made an impact on people. You think of Greg Harden, and you're like, that dude produced people to have sharp minds and be intelligent, but he also loved people and he loved working with people, and that's just what I want to do is um, with my platform is help people. And just like I was saying, to answer your question, yes, it had an impact on what I wanted to do and had an impact on me how I needed to change and remember my love for this game.
What an awesome way to honor, Greg. What an awesome way to honor the people that have made a difference for you, and that's incredible. Um, and yeah,
You know,
go ahead, Dan.
you,
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, well, you mentioned like this mental. You guys are so accessible these days with social media, and fans can be great. They can also be really tough. What's the secret? And guys have talked about. It's easy to say, well, we only care about the people that are inside the building. But that's got to be tough though to turn off some of the real hateful comments that folks probably shoot various players' ways. I
Mhm.
mean, how have you, been able to deal with that?
I would say you have to look at it two ways. You don't look at it or it motivates you. And for me, it motivates me. Again, we were going through, not through, but when I committed, people were like, oh, he's not that good. Ohio State didn't want him. And I'm like, okay, well, you can either have that deteriorate you and you be hurt from it, or you can be like, well, I'm going to show them. And it doesn't really matter for them. Like they don't know me. They don't know who I am. But for me, I'm gonna show you that I'm everything I say I am. Whatever people are writing about me, I'm gonna flip that script. The good things that people are saying to me, I'm gonna build that. And I think it has to motivate you to be the best person, the best player, to just go out there and do your thing. And again, you can't ignore it. Don't look at it. Don't be on social media.
Yeah.
But for me, it motivates me. I don't look at that stuff. But again, when I'm in that position where I'm the guy and I have these responsibilities, let it motivate you. Be the guy. You want people at other programs like scouting for you, and that's my goal. That's my goal is to be that guy. And if to have people like you, there's always going to be haters. There will always be haters, and you're not doing something right if you don't have haters. So that's how I look at it is I'm not doing something right if I don't have some haters and people that are coming after me. And I just got to keep getting better.
Like our friend Buckeye Eddie 27. One of many that were coping with all this.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, obviously the world of football has changed dramatically in the last few years because of, NIL and things like that. I mean, how big, you got school that you got to worry about, then you got to play on the football field. But, now guys are spending a lot of time on sponsorships and NIL deals. I mean, how big a part of your life is that right now?
So I would say right now it's picking up. Like me, like as a player, like I'm more in the recruiting process. I wasn't going in like, oh, I need this, and I need this. That's not what I was looking for.
Okay.
It wasn't a main priority. Like I said, my priority was culture, winning a national championship, being developed. The money will take care of itself. The long term goal is to be playing in the NFL, making
real money.
Yeah, real money. And it's crazy to say that because you can make some real money now, but it's not like the NFL. So again, now for me right now is getting a financial advisor, putting my money in the right place, and then starting to build these connections with people through Michigan, from Ohio, building these things so I will have those things and make the money I want to make. And it is a priority, but it's not my number one. We always talk about keeping the main thing the main thing. And I think that's important is football is the main thing. Do good in that, and the money part will take care of it. Like, it'll take care of itself. The things, the endorsements, the deals, the money I'm making through the collective, that will all take care of itself if I just perform on the field and do what I got to do. And I think that's how I look at it. And again, it's changing college football, and there's gonna have to be some type of restrictions on this. There's gonna have to, or this whole college football is gonna turn real bad, and it's gonna be the NFL.
Yeah, it's getting. I mean, it is interesting time probably for you student athletes these days because it is changing rapidly. There's going to be unintended consequences. I mean, now we have revenue sharing coming. We've got back pay going to people that, for people suing. I think it was Terrell Pryor suing Ohio State for past stuff. And it's just going to be fascinating to see how it all ends up. But to your point, at the end of the day, I mean, the big, your goal is to get to the NFL, not to be the highest paid college guy.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, what you described.
But we're all for it. I think it's great. You guys produce value.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's great that people are getting compensated, but there'll probably need to be some more rules and regulations.
Because what you described, Jordan, I think is like how it should work, where the NIL is a byproduct of playing football. You play football, you build a brand, and then there's some byproducts, some offshoots from that. Not the other way around, which is I'm going to play football because I have an NIL deal sort of already locked up. And but that said, like I like my dad, I think I followed it my whole life, and it did always shock me as a kid when you're still naive to go to watch an NFL team fill maybe 50,000 person stadium and get maybe 9 million on TV. Then go to a stadium and the guys make 50 million, and then you go to a stadium filled with 100,000 people that 25 million tune into on TV and they make zero, right? The scholarship. So it's
Hmm.
definitely moving in the right direction. I think you used the word controls or guardrails, and I think that's the right logical next
Yeah,
step.
me and my mom have went back and forth. Like, you need to again have certain things to be able to make this money too. You need to have. You're not here to just play football. You're here to go to school. You need to have good grades. You need to have all of this stuff to combine before you should be able to even make a certain amount of money. Like, you're getting your scholarship. $70,000 is taking care like of my scholarship. That's people are in debt from that. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. And then I'm fortunate to leave college with money. Like, a lot of people aren't fortunate like to have that. So I feel like for me being blessed to have that, and again, just like you said, there is that part of my value. What do I think my value is to this team and getting what you think you deserve, but also it's controlled, like we've talked about. There's a control, like there's just some stuff is unneeded, and people asking for all this stuff is unneeded. They're just it's college isn't supposed to be. I feel like it's getting more transactional, and people are in transferring for the money and doing things for the money. This why are you playing football then? Is this for the love of the game or for money?
Mm.
Do you feel like I know Michigan's always used the phrase transformational, not transactional? I know it's just been half a season since Harbaugh's been gone, but do you think Michigan still stayed in is still stayed in the transformational lane within that?
And I would say it's in the transitional because it's we get to talk to the people that we're getting the money from, where it's not, oh, here's just the money, bye, peace. Like, it's a relationship. Blake had tons of relationships with people, and now he owns some and is a part of organizations that is helping him build money instead of taking this money up front. He was in it for the relationships, and that's what I want to be in it for is the relationships. Also getting paid, helping my family,
Mhm.
but at the same time it's relationships. And if you see that more than money, the relationships part, you're gonna go way farther in life because down the road you could be struggling and things not working out and you can lean on these relationships.
Sure.
So I would say again, I get to meet with the people from Champion Circle that give me money. I get to meet with Coach Moore to talk about my value to the team. I get to meet with um I just get to meet with the people with Forbes who has the
Nate,
mall.
yeah, Nate Forbes. Yeah.
Who has the mall, like I get to talk to him. We got to talk to somebody from Jordan and listen to all the requirements it takes to be a Jordan athlete. And I'm like, well, I want these things, but I also know that it's not just telling them like, um, I deserve this amount of money. Like, it's just not like that. It's you need to build a relationship. Blake Corum had a toy drive at the mall. Like, that's building a relationship. That's having people come to the mall. He's close to him. Like, I think that's more. I think that's priceless.
Blake may have been one of the best examples in retrospective, like NIL done the right way, where I think he made he earned his value, but he also gave back. And you're right, he built for the future. It wasn't just like got it and then left, but it was. In hindsight, I think that's one of the best examples or models, and we're lucky to have him. But also, Jordan, I will say, you may have one of the best setups for a good. Talk about being a Jordan athlete. Your name's Jordan. You wear a Jordan jersey, and you wear 23.
Yeah.
You're made in shape. I
Initials.
feel like you are.
Initials
Have
are
you thought about that?
just
Like, that's got to
yeah.
be.
So Coach Moore actually, I won at number 3, and I was gonna ask the challenge for it. Coach Moore was like, I'm gonna give you 23. So I was like, all right, I'll rock 23 for a year and then change it. And then I wore it and I'm like, oh, it's growing on me. Like
It
he was
looks
like,
really good.
come on, like it's Jordan. Like I got the JM just flipped and it's MJ. Like
Oh, I missed that
it's
angle. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's just so
there's something here. Well, this has been great. We're now going to do a 2-minute drill. We're going to go through some fun questions.
deal. Let's do it.
And first of all, we probably should have had your mom on this podcast because it sounds like
She's actually right here. Come here.
she did a hell of a job.
Special guest
She
star.
Who's a special guest star?
Wow.
Hello there. We're having fun talking to Jordan. You did a hell of a job raising Jordan.
Thank you.
Are you still watching tape and showing him how he can get better as a running back?
Not exactly.
We've heard you've gotten pretty
As a
advanced.
person.
You're calling out plays. You're calling out coverages. We've heard you've got quite the skill now.
I do love the X's and O's.
Well,
that's great.
actually, this is perfect. We're gonna do a quick 2-minute drill, which is us throwing a bunch of questions. We'd love to keep you on if you. We'd love your answers to this too.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I'll throw you both the first question, which is, do you have a favorite spot to eat in Ann Arbor?
Fritas.
Probably Frida's or no tie.
Okay, quick follow-up on no tie because I love it. How hot do you go? Because I can't go past even medium's a stretch. I'll admit that. I'm sweating and crying.
What did I get?
During this season right now I'm doing medium, but in the summer I was doing spicy because that spicy messes with your stomach. It's so good in the moment, but then you pay for it later in the day and in the next day. Yeah. But I love spicy.
So if you were, we were talking a little bit about NIL earlier, and so you're in charge of the NCAA. What changes are you going to make to, D1 football, rules and regulations or NIL or anything, the transfer portal, anything?
Transfer portal, you only have one. You only would have one.
One a year, one window a year.
One total.
Oh, in your career?
I have one transfer in my career.
Gotcha.
NIL, you have to have certain requirements, a certain GPA, a certain this to get what you want or the certain money that you think you deserve. And then again,
yeah, that's really interesting.
Again, how you play. It's pay by play. And then I would just say it's going to end up happening, but there'd only be two divisions. It's going to be like the NFL, the AFC and the NFC. There's going to be two, most likely the Big Ten and the SEC, but they'll just be called something, probably different names in the future.
And if you were running it, I would also ask you to, I don't think the TV contracts, I don't think we should have the same revenue share as some of the other schools in the Big Ten that don't generate the viewership. So when you get there, when you run the NCAA, maybe you could put that into play. That
would definitely be in place because right now I would say there's maybe 5 teams, maybe.
Yep.
And a lot of them just joined.
Yeah.
So that, and then also I would not have it be 12 teams. It'd be 8.
We're not gonna ask. Oh, in the playoff.
Playoff.
Is that because it's just too many games? Like it just.
I would say I think more because I don't think there's not 12 good enough teams. I think this year is pretty balanced. Again, there's unique years where it's pretty balanced. But again, this year I think a 12 could be a 1. And I don't think anybody's we talked about it the other day. There's nobody that's just oh, snap, they're insane this year.
Yeah.
So I think this year's a unique time, but again, say a few years ago, the number 8 playing Georgia, like why are they? People are just gonna get hurt, like, or the number 12 playing Georgia, like. So again, I would just. It's still more games, and it's again the fans will love it and will still make a lot of money. But again, why is it? I don't know why 12. It's going to be SEC for the most part and Big Ten.
I have one other pressing matter to take to you, Commissioner, which is I also would like to officially outlaw the blue Boise State field.
Oh,
It hurts my eyes, and I believe it kills countless birds every year. So I would also like to file that petition.
I would say I like it. It's unique.
Oh, that's true.
Oh man,
How about
Okay.
that red field, though? Someone's got a red field. Eastern Washington, right?
Red
it's not
field.
from Washington School.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eastern Washington plays on a red one. Can we? At
We
least
don't
outlaw that?
we don't do red, so we can outlaw that one.
I'll look it up.
This question's for Mom. Mom, what has surprised you the most about Ann Arbor?
I don't think I have one. I don't.
For me, I would say there's a lot of green. Like
Oh,
there's like green spaces, and there's actually a whole bunch of. The other part is I love how many coffee spots there
there's
is.
a lot of coffee spots.
Like
It's not as cold as everybody says it was going to be, but we'll see. We haven't faced our real first winter.
Yeah. Yeah, Cincinnati. We were talking earlier with Jordan. I lived in Cincinnati twice in my life, young as a kid and then as an adult. And you're in that kind of valley there a little bit. It doesn't get super cold in Cincinnati. Not a lot of snow, but you'll have some here in Ann Arbor. What's your favorite coffee shop? We'll give a shout out to somebody. You got one?
I don't know the name.
Oh,
What is
I mean-
you like?
I like to do the white girl coffee at Starbucks.
There's a little Arabic one that I like, but I don't know what it's called.
It's right down the street. It's like right down the street from Maize and Blue. Do you know where Maize and
I
Blue
do know where
is?
Maize and Blue is. So
Yeah.
If you keep going down to that light where like all the frat houses are and stuff,
Oh, you like that?
there's one on the corner right there.
yeah, he's talking about across from the Mud Bowl.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I just never go.
I haven't walked past. I used to live right at that corner, like literally right at that. Not in the frat, Jordan.
So it is. It is called down here. Sorry, it's called Vertex Coffee.
Vertex Coffee.
We may have to have that Vertex Coffee and see if we can get a small NIL deal for you for
Absolutely.
coffee at least.
By the way, Jordan, I'd love to know, white girl coffee, is that just like you're putting three pumps of this, 2 pumps of that?
Yeah, like a brown sugar shaken espresso.
Oh, that's my favorite. I get that all the time.
You like
Yeah.
white girl coffee?
Yep, guess we're white girl coffee
What am I
drinkers.
supposed to walk around Target empty-handed?
Yeah. See?
I get you.
So, Jordan, what's if we got you on America's Got Talent, what is your hidden talent aside from running the football?
Dancing?
I like to say I can dance.
Well, no, I thought you were going to tell us because you were in the choir in high school, right?
Yes, I was.
So are you, but not a singer? I mean, were you just kind of there for your good looks, or are you a good singer?
I can
He does. It's pretty.
I can dabble. I can just a little bit, but I just like music. The boys said on something that I was the best dancer on the team. They said, and then somebody asked them, where does he show his dance moves off? And they were like, Saturday night.
Well, I'm kind of curious. I mean, I'm picturing like 110 guys sitting inside Schembeck. Are you guys having dance offs, or like, how does anyone know you're a good dancer?
So Saturday nights, but we did a talent show, and they were trying to get me to dance, and I told them no.
Okay.
So yeah, it's so much fun being around those guys. We get to see everybody's silly side.
We've had some good. I think we've had some good like, what's your talent answers. I'm trying to think of a couple jugglers. A couple singers, mostly singers. I no one's proven it, but a couple singers, yeah. I got another one, which is it's obviously election season. You're in a swing state now, so you're probably seeing all the ads. Which player on the team would you most likely vote for president?
Probably probably Tuttle because he's old.
He's old.
You love that.
No, I like Tuttle. Though. I think
that is true. He is old at this point.
I think he would do a good job, Uncle Tut.
Uncle Tut.
Uncle Tut. Okay, that's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, you want to bring us home, Dad?
Hey, look, no, we're going to let you spend time with your family. It's a bye weekend, so we want you to rest and relax. And we've asked enough questions for now. Jordan. This has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time.
So much fun.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so a lot of fun. And Mom, thanks for joining. He is. We're excited to have him at Michigan. We're going to be without a starting running back next year. So that the room, we're going to have a lot of yards walk out the door at the end of the season to the NFL. And so, Jordan, you're one of the next guys up. So we're looking forward to meeting.
Yes, sir.
So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Jordan.